If man could see what he was meant to be, it would grieve his heart to see what he has become.
What is the purpose of the world? What are we here for? What should we be doing for the 80 or so, whatever years that we're alive on this planet? What are we being taught? What's the direction that society is taking us?
If I could have all the riches of this world, if I could be what I'd ever dreamed to be, if I could be who this world would acknowledge, my heart would not be satisfied. Take the riches of this world away.
So what is the way of the world? What does it teach us today? How are we being educated and indoctrinated by the world? And for what purpose?
Everyone goes through this kind of rebellious stage when you're in your teenage years, and you're just pushing the boundaries and trying to find out what life's about, and you experience all the pleasures, and you want to find out what's going on. But then after a while, everything just seems to be running on a cycle, it seems to repeat itself. And it's the next roller coaster ride of excitement, and then you hit a lull, and then it's whoa, it's back up again. It's up and down, and it's on a repetitive cycle and pretty soon, my experience was that it just seems so pointless. What's the purpose? It didn't interest me anymore. You have to keep looking for the next interesting thing that fills that empty void inside you. You have to keep finding more exciting, more this, more that, and buying bigger things and buying more expensive things and doing more extravagant things. But what's the point of it all? It's just purposeless, because you just grow up, you buy all this stuff, you experience all the different things life has to offer, and you still end up dying.
If you consider yourself trapped in a society where you have no influence, no way of making a lasting change, and you think that this society is going to go down, it's like a sinking ship, has the veneer of a luxury liner, but really you know that the bottom of the ship is rotten and it's going down, and you're in that ship with everybody else, then you'd want to get out. And that's pretty much where I was at. So I wanted to get off that ship, and then I had to find a way to get off it. So then you think, where are the other people who are like me? Is there anybody else who's alarmed at the condition of this society and where it's going? And then if you could find anybody who's like-minded, surely you would want to affect a change and get off it, because you can't fix the ship. It's rotten from the bottom. The engine room and everything's just rusted out. There's holes in it. It's going down. But people are still playing tennis on the top deck and golf and lying on sunbeds and drinking cocktails, having a good old laugh.
So I tried to change things about my own life and started questioning everything that had been taught. Why do I have my hair like this? Why do I dress like that? Why do I go here? Why do I talk like this? Everything that I did, I started to question and then want to change about myself. So I started reading different books, wearing different clothes, cutting all my hair off. Why do we have to have long hair? Just because someone always taught us we have to have long hair. So, well, I don't want to even have any hair. I'm just going to cut it all off. Cut off all my hair. And why do I dress like this? Why do we have to have buttons down the middle? Why can't we have buttons somewhere else? Why do we have to have all this, like, just normal stuff? And actually it started to send me a little bit crazy. Then I start to say, why do we always walk at certain speeds? I don't want it when we're all walking in the shopping mall, all walking around at this certain speed. I said, well, I might not want to walk that speed. You know what? I'm going to walk really slow. So then I start walking really slow, just because I'm trying to break out of normal life. And I cut off all my hair, start wearing wild clothes, and really I was just going crazy in myself. But I was desperate to try and find a way out. But in all of that, there was no way out.
So there's a huge amount of peer pressure, there's a huge amount of pressure to be someone, achieve something, be a self-made man, you know, like have it all together. Like all our role models and idols on TV and music.
I was pursuing a career in entertainment, and I also was in a band. And I just remember it was like a really nasty realization. Like it was like I realized I was trying to affect people's souls, and I realized this is what music is. This is the industry. This is what people are trying to do. They're trying to manipulate people. I remember trying to play my flute in a way that would, you know, captivate people. And I realized if I'm setting myself up for a musical career, it's horrible. It's really selfish. It's like a way of controlling people. And I knew, I just knew there was a lot of compromise in the entertainment industry. And I was like, and I knew even growing up from the music I listened to, you know, songs like "We're Not Gonna Take It." It was like a song of rebellion. You know, you got to fight. Yeah, exactly. I can't drive 55. You got to fight for your right to party. It was just rebellion, and I remember, you know, lifting up my soul to it, and wanting, kind of deciding, I'm going to try this. I'm going to pursue a career in this industry. I ended up going to New York City, party scene, and ending up in a hospital, and that was when I really realized, oh, you know, please show me what I'm living for, because I don't want to live. You know, I know I was just going to end up kind of dead or empty. You know, maybe not dead, but empty, like burned out, empty. You know, and just used by the system that I was willingly giving myself to do, so I could get some money out of it or get a career out of it. I was like, whoa, God, show me a real, you know, show me what I'm living for. Please give me a way out.
So I had everything made in a way. I didn't have like tons of money, and like I was still working. I still needed to make money to make a living, but like I was achieving stuff that I was setting out to achieve, and finding that it was just meaningless. It didn't have any. Like, it didn't really have any. Like, there was nothing to it. It was all very shallow, you know. Like I wanted like a car. I wanted a BMW, so I bought a BMW. I wanted a nice girlfriend. I ended up with a nice girlfriend, very attractive, and we were living in Cambridge and had a nice flat that her mother bought for us to live in, so it's like we weren't even paying any rent. And so, you know, I had this life that was like kind of quite idealistic, but it was just shallow. There was just nothing to it. There was like a longing inside me for something other than what I had, but I couldn't just make it up. Like I didn't have it within myself to kind of like there was no idea that I could think of that I could get that would satisfy kind of the longing inside of me, like a void that could be filled. It was like things were just like falling apart around me, really. I mean, I still had a job, but I just didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted something deeper in life, and yeah, that's when I decided to find God, and that's when things kind of really started to change.
I was born in Gothenburg, but my parents decided when I was 3 that we would move to the countryside, and so we moved to a very beautiful remote place, and it was really like a paradise. I was quite shocked when I was older. Like, somehow I thought the world was just... It was like I didn't really grow up in reality. It was a big fantasy. It was very beautiful. It was like in a storybook or something like that. Then as I grew older, I saw a lot of ugliness starting in school, and then even ugly things came out of me, rebellion against my parents, and drinking, partying, just doing all kinds of things that they had warned me against. And I think I was really badly hurt, actually, by people and by the way things were, but then I quite soon became somebody who hurt other people and kind of hardened in that way. I also was troubled by things that were happening in the world, and I started to have a thought that perhaps it won't be safe anymore to live anywhere in the world, and I thought maybe if I had my own boat and I lived on a boat, and then things start going wrong, I can just take off and find an island somewhere. So I bought a sailboat, and then not long after that I thought, what's the point of even staying here? I'm just gonna take off now and see if there's a better place to live. Yeah, I don't know exactly what I was thinking. I think I was thinking maybe other people are doing the same thing, and maybe I'll meet those people somewhere along the way, and we'll start a new society somewhere on some island. It's all the same. I don't know why. I don't know why nothing is working out. Why there are no lasting friendships. I remember being 6 years old or something and looking at my hands and thinking, what are they for? Like, what am I? What's the purpose of my life? So I remember laying with my little baby in my arms, just crying and crying out to God, if there is a God, please be merciful to this child. I don't want him to end up the way I ended up in my life, and I still wanted to find a better life for us. I came across a website on the internet with this community, and it seemed a bit peculiar. I didn't really understand much of what they were writing. There were even some really terrible things that were being said about this community, but I wasn't really put off by that, because I knew I didn't have anything to lose. I just thought, we're going to find out. I've tried before and I've been disappointed. I've tried to find a way out of this world, but I'm just going to keep trying.
Like, we're born into a world, because really the way the world is, it teaches you to be selfish. Like, what we're seeing in front of us is the most selfish generation being raised up on the face of the earth. Like, each generation is becoming more and more successively selfish, like self-oriented. You know, that they would have what they want, when they want it. But where's generosity amongst all this? Where's like humility and sharing things and all these like virtues that everyone knows is good, but it just doesn't make the economy spin round, does it? It doesn't like turn the economy to share or make do with what you have and just be frugal and thankful. I felt like you can't change the world. But the big question is, where is it all leading? It really came to a point where I just wanted out.
We came from all walks of life, longing to find the way that can fulfill our purpose to live, the cause above all causes, worth giving our whole lives to, not just for our sake, but for our children and their children. We did not find God in the form of our religion or an institution. What we found was a home where God lives in the hearts of a people who love one another.
Like, when I first turned up, I thought it was just a bunch of like Christian hippies that play the tambourine and sing some songs. It's actually way deeper. It's like a whole nother society being raised up out of the dust of this like dying world. You know, we're making a home for the lonely and all those who just hate their lives in this world and hate the direction that their life is going and the way that society's going. And we've been given another chance for all the destructive things we've done in our lives and the way we've hurt people.
You know, the physical earth is reaping the spiritual consequences of how we're living. Selfishness is wrecking the earth. We're an emerging culture. We're a counterculture to the world. Have a struggle to maintain peace and friendship and unity. It's not easy, but it can be done, and it is being done, and it's by people who are fed up of being ruled by anger, indignation, pride, things that cause you to want to be separated from other people. And we are in the process of dealing with those things. We don't have the same priorities. We're not training our children to think of themselves first and making money and having prestige and success and at the cost of other people and at the hurt of other people. And there's a way that we can at least come out of that society, that sinking culture and that sinking civilization.
The people at the community, their love for me didn't, from what I experienced, didn't seem to have limits. But my love had limits, had a lot of limits. I wanted to be this loving, unconditionally kind of person, but I wasn't. And I really tried. I meditated for hours. But when I arrived back at home, I was the same selfish person. nothing worked for me. Like whatever they were doing in that community was working somehow, and I didn't know what it was. I wanted to find out what it was that was making it work for them. I saw the life, I saw the way they were with one another, and that's what convicted me. In a very gentle way, it was just undoing me till I could, it was like gentle love that brought me to a place where I just wanted to say, okay, this is who I really am, and I don't want to be this person. I want what you have. But and just to admit that I didn't have it, just to admit that I was a selfish person, selfish, rebellious person, and unloving. But I also had no doubts that they were going to show me the way to be different. Somehow the love that they showed to me, it won my trust, and then I start asking, what is it, and what's this that you believe? And they told me a few things, and they talked about God. And at first that was a bit off-putting because I didn't believe in God, but the life that they had backed up the words they were saying. And I came to a point where I said, I believe anything you say. And actually it was wonderful, because then I came to find out that actually God is wonderful. It was the cleanest environment that I could find. It was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted to raise my daughter in. I knew I didn't want to raise her in the society I had come out from, but I didn't find anywhere to come into to raise her in either until I came here. And so I just wanted to raise her entirely in this environment, to respect other people, to love other people, to lay down your life for other people, which is what I would have called unconditional love. To be able to love without limits, not thinking about yourself all the time. How does this affect me? But just to be able to be there for others. And those are the qualities I wanted to go into my daughter. I thought they're the only qualities that are worthwhile.
I grew up with teachers and parents and friends who I knew were always for me and loved me, and no matter what I was going through or how I was, they were always there just to be my friends. And yeah, it's definitely a treasure. It's a nice way to live. Like you feel very secure. You know that people care about you. You feel you're loved, and I'm really grateful that I came here when I was just a little baby, and we don't have to just go through life and fumbling along, not really knowing, not knowing what to do or what our purpose in life is, Now I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to now, after everything I've been taught, I can now teach it back to the little ones growing up. I'm really privileged to be able to do that alongside my mom. It's special. Not many youth grow up and then start teaching right with their parents. Our life is geared in that direction where parents and their children can work alongside each other. Children can learn to help their parents teach the younger ones, and it's definitely a very special thing.
I came and visited, and I quickly realized this was my purpose, and that was that. I realized I wanted this, and I found out what the cost was, and it was everything. It was my whole life, and I'm still finding out what that means. I grew up hearing about Jesus loves me, this I know, because the Bible tells me so. But you know, nice little rhyme, but you know, you don't really know what that means until you live with people and you have to make it work. And that's why people don't live together, because that's why marriages don't work, because it's hard work. And yeah, so it's a wonderful restoration. Not just we want to live in a nice community together, but we're finding out the Creator's mind about love, because no one even knows what it is really in our society. You know, finding out what love is what that's I found a covenant people who promise their lives to one another in loyalty, and that's the heart of the Creator. That's why the Creator, you know, put it in man's heart to marry someone and take care of and have a family and raise children and love those children, not just be grumpy all day. We're building a society where there's trust and no one's really got anything in it for themselves. And if we do, we don't want it. We find out and we say, okay, thank you, I'll get rid of that. Get rid of that self-interest. For me and my wife, we have to love one another to raise our children. It's not just automatic. We have children, they're going to grow up and be great. It's the labor of knowing we're together and knowing they're together with us and leading them in the way that you can't just set children in front of televisions and expect anything good's going to happen out of that. You can't have sustainable living without sustainable relationships. And because of the one we follow, who's taught it, you know, the Messiah, Yeshua, because of what he teaches us to abandon all, then we can do the same. You can't just do that in the world. You can't walk around with a cross over your shoulder down the city street saying, you know, Jesus died for you. That's not picking up your cross. Picking up your cross is denying self in a container where you can do it. You can't do it just being homeless on the street. There's enough of that, and it's not causing the selfish people to become less selfish. They might throw a dollar bill in someone's hand. It's not the solution. The solution is learning to be humble. This world is not being built on humility. This present world order, it's being built on greed and selfishness, and it's all inside me too. It's all inside the people I live with. But we don't want it, and we can together, because we're in this special container. This special container, we can be purified of all those things in a long-term, permanent, sustainable relationship with each other. A promised life to one another, and something that our children can grow up into and actually surpass us and bring and show people a way out of our society and a way into a new age of love.
All my life I tried to find a way to fill the void inside. I thought there must be ways to mend the wounds and scars of life. And I came upon a people whose hearts were filled with joy. And the answer I had searched for, they had found. What's the purpose for my life now? Where does love and peace abound?
I kept coming here, staying for a time, and then leaving. Because we just disagreed on a lot of things, really. At least one of the times that I left was because it was we just disagreed on everything. So I was kind of like, well, what's the point in being here? It's just a waste of time. We don't believe in anything the same. And then I left, and there just wasn't the life out there that is here. Like there's, you know what I mean? Like there's such a drive and a purpose that we're living for, and there's just no purpose out there. There's nothing really to live for. Nothing that's going to bring about any real change anyway. I mean, you could go and save some whales, or you could go and raise some money for some antibiotics for some African people or something, but really it's not, it never gets to the root of the problem. It never really gets to the problem. Definitely before I came, I just did whatever I felt like doing. Yeah, I didn't really, didn't listen to my conscience, and yeah, wasn't very nice. Wasn't nice to people, didn't treat people the way they should have been treated. But what I found here was a solution to all the problems. All people care about how they treat each other, and repent if they don't treat each other well. Something like a cause that I could give my life to. You get a brand new start. It's a whole, a fresh slate.
Well, I remember actually going to one of our gatherings, like when I first came. The things that people were saying were very honest about their lives, and it actually exposed me that I was a rotten sinner. Like, I had tried to do some good things, and I remember actually walking away one time, just standing under a tree and weeping. I just felt exposed. Like, initially I came here, I think, wanting to find an even more beautiful world, like my parents wanted to take us out of the city and find a better place for us, and moved out beautiful countryside of Sweden, and so somehow I wanted to find a better life. I think I tried to fit in with different groups of people, but it never really worked. Like, I never really was a sailor, or I never really was whatever other things I was trying. What I realized was that when we came here, there was like a place for us, and we could be who we are. And there were people here from different nationalities, and I didn't really feel like a misfit, even if I came from another country. I just right away felt like there was a place here for us. And we could become part of this life. It wasn't just a place to live and a job, but it was a life, a whole culture. It just was resounding with the longing in my heart somehow. I didn't understand the whole thing about salvation in the beginning. I felt at home. There was a warmth. There was something here that I didn't have. But right away, when I saw my need and decided to become part of this life, it was like coming into another world. And so when I came here, I saw that people were not perfect that were living here. They were just like normal people that live anywhere, but they had lived together many years, and they were still the best of friends. And when things happened, then someone would always humble themselves and they would make peace, and people would be willing to just search their own hearts and judge themselves. And that was a great hope that I could learn that too, and I could also have that kind of relationships, not pointing the finger and judging other people all the time like I had done very much in my life. I found salvation.
I was so concerned about the direction of the world and society, and global warming, and peak oil, and like energy crisis and water crisis in the future, and international instability and wars, and there's all kinds of stuff going on there, and still is. Like, the world's in a bit of a big mess, really. Like, I just thought having children was probably the most irresponsible thing you can do, to like bring a human life into this world, into this big mess that I had no hope for. Like I was saying, I didn't want to have children. It's because you look at what's going into the children, and it's like what was going into me, like, you know, computer games and like TV and sports and video and, you know, all the violence you see and immorality. I mean, it's just terrible, really. And that's what the future of the world, that's what the way of the world they're being taught, isn't it? And that's what they're being filled with, and that's what you're going to get in, you know, everything you think science fiction and in the movies now is going straight into the children in 20 years time. That's what you're going to see right in front of you on the streets. And you know, when I first came to visit the community at Stenwick Farm, you know, 12 Tribes community, I just saw these most amazing children that were just open, friendly, inquisitive, happy. They clearly loved their parents, and their parents clearly loved them. You know, it was amazing. It blew my mind. Like, it opened my eyes up to what was going on. That I wanted to hear more. You know, like what was going on, and you just see the life they had, and I was just jealous. Really, like they have such an amazing life. So surrounded by friendly people and in a warm, loving environment, and being taught by their friends, and you know, it's incredible, really. Getting involved in all kinds of projects and building things and mechanics and stuff that, you know, I would have loved to have done when I was a child. You know, it's not just some fantasy of like utopia, you know, but it's people rolling their sleeves up and like actually doing it, you know, putting some good into those children. And but now look at my life now. I have 5 children, and I actually have one on the way as well. But I think the big difference in my life is that now I really have a purpose. Like there's a reason. I mean, obviously I met an amazing wife, but it's like I've got hope for the future. You know, really, I see my life before was just all caving in, but like now my life's totally changed around. I've got a purpose, you know, for my life, and a reason to get out of bed in the morning. I mean, it requires everything. You know, as a parent of, you know, 5 children, it requires everything. Like you know, you have to strain every fibre in your whole being to really pour love into your children, turn your heart to them. But I'm so thankful it's that way, because that's what love does. Love is willing to go that extra mile, and willing to you know, die to your own desires and your own personal gain for the welfare of someone else, and that's what we're really learning.
Yeshua said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." He wasn't projecting some image, trying to get people to look up to him. There wasn't a speck of deceit in him. He was exactly what he appeared to be. He talked about real things like greed and fear and selfishness, things that are inside all of us, things that phonies don't want to admit and cowards don't want to face up to. He knew a way out. That's why he talked about those real problems, because he knew that those things were taking people to death, and he didn't want people to go to death. He wanted them to have full life that would never end. He talked about love, real love, not some word you hear in a song that makes you feel good until the song ends, and not some plastic religious pretense or experience. The love he talked about was the love he lived. Love that cost you something. Love that cost you your life. That's why he didn't just give people the same old song and take off, leaving them in the dust. He got right down there in the dust with them. The only home he had was the people that he loved. They were his everything. He loved them so much that he wanted them to be with him. He called them to follow him, to leave behind homes and families and possessions and of course self, and embark with him on a radical life of loving the same way he loved. We never knew love like that before, a love that is stronger than death. He is the one whom death could not hold. He is our everything. We came from all walks of life, and we're deeply thankful we found the narrow way.
There is a way you can be happy today. And there is a way we can be happy and peaceful. Though we know this world will be ending one day, we can still love into eternity. The only way to salvation is Yeshua.